I read this recently in a article where this woman did a stupid thing. She failed to teach her kid gun safety. And what happened was simple. She was carrying a fully loaded semi-automatic. It slipped out of her pocketbook or seat or something, rolled under it. Her little 4-year-old was able to snag the gun, thinking it was a toy, and shot her in the back. And Justice Department decided what she went through was more than enough. I don't think so. I think her and she was one of these gun rights advocate that always claims you got to take away my gun through my cold fingers. Well, in this case, it didn't go through her cold fingers. It wound up in her son's possession, where he just thought like every other little kid at that age thought. It was a toy, not understanding the ramifications. Because I remembered years ago, I trained my little ones what a gun was very, very, very early. Because one day I happened to get a brand new 5.0, that's what I called it, and the kids looked at it, and it was a 500 Smith & Wesson, very powerful piece, and they wanted to play with it. Well, I knew what one of the older one would have done if she got a hold of it. She would have thought it was a toy, turned it around, and shot her brother. Not meaning to, not knowing to, but to her it's just a toy. She pointed right at him and bang, 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 bang. That's all she'd think would happen. She sees it on TV all the time, at the time, where people got shot and then show up on the next movie. So I decided to teach her and the baby what a firearm really was. So I took them out because behind my old house was a shooting range. I didn't have to worry about neighbors because way out in the woods. And I set up targets, and I had the kids standing right beside me. And I put my shooter's headphones on, my earplugs, and I set up some targets at a safe distance. And I happened to be running special kind of ammunition through it at the time. I call it wad cutters, but it was a very loud concussion ammunition, really loud, and give off quite a sound. I sat there, aimed it. I told the kids to listen real closely, and they weren't wearing hearing protection. Boom! Those kids jumped 6 feet in the air. The baby could have jumped over me, and I'm a pretty tall man. The second round busted, they went running in the house, screaming, crying. So after I seen them run in, I took the gun, unloaded it, checked it, done my usual, looked up, seen gun had no rounds in it at all, closed it up, and they were crying near their mama. I set the gun right in front of them and said, "Now do you want to play with it?" They cried. A lot of people would think that was cruel. No, it's not. What would have been cruel is if one of those kids would have picked up that firearm and used it on their mama, their daddy, their selves, a neighbor, because a lot of kids don't know that a firearm is the most powerful destructive force you as a citizen own. And it's not just a right, it's a responsibility. Because whenever a firearm falls into the hands of a young kid, 9 times out of 10, it's tragedy, pure and simple. But when are you people going to realize that because you have a right doesn't mean crap? It means you got a responsibility of the highest order. And a firearm is one thing. You disrespect it in the slightest, it will make you pay. But you don't have to believe me. Read your newspapers every day of how somebody lost somebody they love because they were careless with a firearm.